Today's lesson is raising the level of questions to unearth deeper meaning. Readers, have you spent much time with a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old? Maybe you have a 3 or 4-year-old sibling or maybe a cousin, but have you ever noticed something about them? One thing about those kids that age is they ask why all the time. Why is the sky blue? Why do birds have feathers? Why are you taller than me? Why? And even though it can get really annoying, it's also really exciting to see kids enter this stage of life because it means that they're really starting to think. And as readers, we can take a point from them. It's similar to what we did yesterday when we said that readers with grit ask and mull over the possible answers to big questions when they're reading. Today, I want to teach you that readers often ask a very specific, very important question. Why did the author include that? Knowing that authors do things on purpose, readers gather information from the text to try to answer that question. Readers, when you ask this question, you need to ask it like it is a very big deal. Because it is. It's the kind of question that should demand an answer. I've been thinking about Stone Fox and wondering, why did the author make this story happen on a potato farm? I could just ask that and keep going, much the same way I might say to someone that I pass in the hall, "Hey, how's it going?" and then keep walking. But no, I want to ask that question like it really matters. I want to ask it with grit, so then I can try to answer it with grit. Why did the author make this happen on a potato farm? I mean, potatoes, they just grow in the ground. They're ugly. Why potatoes? And that farm, it's in the middle of nowhere. Willie is totally isolated. Why did the author do that? Such an important question must be answered. But if I just give the first quick answer I think of, I would still be acting like the question is small and unimportant. Instead, I want to really mull over possible answers, not just one, but different possibilities. Here's a tip. I want to say things like, could it be, and, or maybe it is. And remember, to come up with possible answers, readers gather information from the text. Yesterday, we talked about how readers often look back in a text to think ahead. That's one way to gather information. I actually started to do that work last night. Like on page 3, it says little Willie lived with his grandfather on a small potato farm in Wyoming. It was hard work living on a potato farm, but it was also a lot of fun, especially when grandfather felt like playing. Thinking about that information helps me think about possible answers to my question. Could it be the fact that the author included that setting to help show that little Willie is a hard-working kid since he's worked on a farm his whole life? Or maybe it's because the author wants to show how important little Willie and his grandfather are to each other since they're all alone together on this farm away from town. Or maybe it's because, let me use a little more grit and push for one more, that the author wants to show us how lonely life would be for little Willie if he lost his grandfather. I bet I could linger with this question even more by finding other information in the text that suggests possible answers. Readers, by now you have so many great things to work on as you read, and I know that each one of you has your own goals for yourself as a reader and your own plans for how you're going to get there. Many of you will be asking questions as you read. Remember that whenever you do, you decide how big of a deal to make those questions. Sometimes a question might just need a quick clarification, like, wait, who said that sentence? That you answer and then you move on. But some questions, such as, why did the author do that? can have a big and important payoff if you take the time to treat them like they really matter. Put a Post-it marked with AP for places where you are considering author's purpose. So use your grit, gather information from the text, and mull over different possible answers to those big questions. Now, head off to your reading spots and begin.